Okay, so from the affirmative side, we have Amira, Dani, Nada, and in the opposition side, we have Nico, Shah, and Jonathan. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I call this House to order. To present their case on today's motion, the House will introduce the pros and cons of banning cell phones in school. So following is the topic of banning cell phones in school. The use of smartphones in school has been intensely debated in the media by proponents and equal numbers of opponents. Each give their diverging views. In the end, most schools decided to ban bringing smartphones by students to schools. Let's welcome the panelists. Amira from the affirmative side.
Cell phones are a fundamental part of modern teen life. Research estimates that up to 95% of United States teens have access to a smartphone and 45% say they are almost constantly on the internet. With that shocking statistic, it is no wonder that so many educators, parents, and children themselves are worried about the consequences of bringing phones to school. Today, we were supporting on the government side, which agreed of banning cell phone in school. But before that, Assalamualaikum and very good morning I bid towards panel, timekeepers and my colleagues opposition peoples. Now, I will debate my opinion why cell phone should not be allowed in school. Cell phone can lead to digital addiction. Digital addiction will affect our mental health issue. Since digital technology, including smartphone, laptop, social media, and online games, burst into our life over a decade ago, incidences of teen depression have risen 50%. When students are addicted to cell phone, they might suffer negative psychological effects such as sleep deficit, anxiety, stress, and depression. As for this, students need an 8-hour break from their cell phone, which means that banning cell phone in school is the best solution in reducing the level of digital addiction among students in order to avoid them suffering this mental health risk. Banning cell phone in school gives students a really great time for them to reset and take a break from their device. Many educators out there suggest for students to keep their cell phone in the locker for the day, and they will be able to use cell phone during breaks, recess, and when need to contact their parents only. Besides, digital addiction can make students not socialize with their friends. When they use cell phone, they will focus too much on their phone rather than communicate with their friends. This situation will affect them to lack of communication skills. Students will not be able to make friends or socialize with people around them as they do not know how to communicate with people, and they will lack motivation to push themselves into challenges of social life.
Thank you, Amira. The affirmative has made his point. Without further delay, let's welcome Nico from the opposition side.
Test. A very good morning. I bid to panel of educators, precise timekeepers, respected speakers, fair and wise adjudicators, and members of the floor. First, I strongly oppose that cell phones should be banned in school. I will prove why I disagree that cell phones should not be banned for 3 strong reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, the reason why students must be allowed to bring cell phones to school is that we have to be a responsible digital citizenship. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. The quote given by the famous education philosopher John Dewey has told us that if we keep on using the same way each and every day to teach the students, thus there would be no improvements. Undoubtedly, the introduction of new technology is now the opportunity to enhance the learning experience. The education system is a constantly evolving and dynamic landscape, and technology is changing the face of education. Personal digital devices like cell phones have provided us tons of benefits in our daily life, and especially in the world of education. It offers a whole host of benefits when using cell phones in schools. as it keeps students more engaged in learning. Technology is changing the world. Technology is changing us. We need to embrace these changes instead of trying to separate that reality from an outdated vision of a classroom. We need to find a way to optimize the educational experience for the connected kids of the future. My second reason is that cell phones in school teach digital literacy. Okay, so what is digital literacy? Digital literacy means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is increasingly through digital technologies like internet platforms and mobile devices. In turn, developing critical thinking skills of the students. At this day in age, almost all children grow up surrounded by computers and mobile devices. And this is why innovative schools should provide these digital natives the guidance to use technology at an early age to ensure students build digital skills that will allow them to succeed in current and future job makers. Teaching children to use these tools productively enables a world of creativity from pieces of art, videos, presentations, audio recordings, and students can access to the internet just with a touch of a fingertip. Take a risk and see what the future may look like. The cell phone is a teaching tool and not just a distraction. Thank you, speaker, members of the floor. Therefore, for this reason, I'm so proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. So now let's proceed to the affirmative side. Dani.
Sorry, Nicole, but from your perspective, we can see that the only advantage here is training students to be creative and innovative for the perfect future, which is digital citizenship and digital literacy, right? But in the perspective of bringing mobile phones to school, I definitely do not agree with your opinion that mobile phones can be used in school in order to expose students to technologies, because actually teachers can use many other digital tools to train them about digital world. Because for me, even if the teacher wants to use them, there are only a few appropriate tools that can be used, since not all students have their own mobile phones at this age. If teachers want to use mobile phones as their main activities, students with no mobile phones might be offended. Furthermore, students at primary levels are encouraged to read a lot of books, and it is definitely the right time to train them with reading. Because if not, why do we have NILA program at school, right? Because the NILA program is implemented in school in order to encourage students to read books. So according to the experiment that has been done in 2020, about 76% of students above the age of 15 are categorized as potential readers, and about 22% were not interested in reading. So if we do not train this habit earlier, how can we achieve that 100% of students in Malaysia are potential readers? So undoubtedly, this is proof that we don't have to ask students to use mobile phones in school. Besides, teachers can provide many more ways to teach students about technology or digital citizenship, such as bringing them to a computer laboratory. So I stick to my words that we should ban the use of mobile phones in school, and my main point here is I totally believe that mobile phones come hand in hand with lots of distractions that just are not appropriate to not only for the learning environment but also for school. And if you agree that mobile phone can help students to learn and train about skills and digital literacy more effectively, why can't we think the bad consequences of using it in classroom, such as texting person instead of searching for resources, sending memes to their friends and laughing at it, playing video games instead of answering the questions, listening to music, and even sneaking a peek at YouTube. These are all actually endless opportunities for children to be distracted with their cell phone at hand in the classroom. So this will surely make them not paying attention to the lecturers, and undoubtedly, this is one of the major worries and biggest cons of having a cell phone at school. Many educators ask for and ban the phone within the classroom and ask that they be turned off and indeed in the start of class.
Thank you, Dani, for the point out. Now let's invite Shah to counter the arguments.
So good morning everyone. Thank you Dani for the speech and I see your point. As we already know, cell phones are a very important element nowadays. All communities, regardless of age, now have their own cell phones, including students like us. Undoubtedly, cell phones have a bad effect on students if they do not use them in the right way. However, cell phones still bring 1001 benefits to its user because of many advantages it provides and can make it easier for us as a student. So, I disagree with the statement that bringing phones to the school is not allowed. Huh? This is because among the reasons why school must allow students to bring cell phones is because cell phones can provide additional tools for students to study. They will have access to technology when they are permitted to use their cell phones in the class. When there are not enough laptops or tablets in the classroom for every student, this can be extremely helpful. Students can use their mobile device for research, to respond to polling questions in the class, or even to create essays or answer questions. So, teachers don't have to bother to provide more technology tools because every student already has their own mobile phone. Not only that, the use of mobile phones can also allow students to improve communication with each other since there are many students that are introverted, which leads them to speak less. In addition to using their cell phone to communicate with their parents and friends, students can also use their cell phones to communicate with their teachers. This can allow students to share feedback and questions with the teachers easily and receive answers whenever the teachers have a time. If the teachers does not have a time to read a student's question until after the school day, the student could see the reply immediately rather than waiting until the next day. Hence, the question are answered. So, bringing phone is useful tool that are needed to bring at the school.
Thank you, Shah. So now let's invite the third panelist from the affirmative side, Nada. Thank you, moderator. I'm sorry, Patricia, but I do not strongly agree with your opinion. For me, bringing mobile phones in the classroom can actually give an opportunity to students to take their lesson easily. This is because it can lead students to use it in a negative way more than a positive. For example, when they are given a task or any test in the classroom, they can easily cheat. When they find it is hard to get the answer, they will start to just look online for it instead of spending time to search and learn new things. It is also the same situation that happens during exams. Students can use mobile phones during exams by activating their device Bluetooth or texting applications to share exam information with other test takers. Not only that, mobile phones can lead students to not being honest on completing the work. For instance, they switch on their mobile phones and snap a photo of a classmate's work, enabling them to copy that homework almost word for word in order to avoid doing it themselves. Other than that, mobile phones can give more disadvantages for students since it provides people with unlimited connections. It is dangerous for students because they can get easily influenced by negative things. Moreover, having mobile phones will let students search anything on their fingertips without any limits. So when they bring mobile phones to school, they will probably watch inappropriate content such as watching porn and bad influences videos like smoking or vaping on any social media such as TikTok, Instagram or YouTube. Then when they are highly exposed to social media, it can give them the ability to get involved in cyberbullying. The reality of having mobile phones in the classroom means that embracing pictures, nasty messages and name-calling can happen where the teachers can't see, and it's one of the biggest reasons why we should not give them the freedom to use mobile phones at school. That's all. Thank you, Nada, for the point out. Now let's invite Jonathan to counter the argument.
Testing. All right. Thank you to the moderator. For me, I disagree with your assessment. For me, in my opinion, students will benefit from bringing phones to school since they may use them to search for information or use an online dictionary to look up the terms or the grammar that don't understand. It saves time and does not interrupt the teacher when the class is in session. For example, when the teacher is teaching in front of the students and when the students are faces some the terms or the words they don't understand, they can use the phones to search the meanings of the words or terms, so they won't confuse when the teacher is teaching. During my MCO days, I used to carry my phones to class with me. The teacher were aware that pupils brought phones to school, so they would contact their parents in an emergency. My head teacher used the phone to speak on WhatsApp to current attendance for the class, since my class was far away from the office and we needed to obey the regulation, like we couldn't simply pass the office at that time. So here I want to approve that when students bring phones to school, it makes it easier for the teacher to give information to students. For example, the teacher can give instruction over the phones, such as today class will carry on or not, or tell the students he or she will come in late and do their own work. In this way, students can understand the teacher's instruction at all times and utilize their phones to complete exercise that the teacher assigned, like Patricia just mentioned. The benefits of carrying cell phones to school outweigh the drawback. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. So thank you to all our panelists for the exciting arguments. Let's invite the second